Alright, so we're going to start a series of videos on engineering, and this is something I've actually been kind of working on around the house and building things up and stuff, just so that I can show it to you guys. And these are also things that we're going to end up putting the blueprints and the overall drawings and stuff inside our engineering manual, which is really an improvised explosive manual. We're going to put it in the back of that here in the future, just so your engineers would have an idea of how to build systems that will help you have a relatively comfortable life. And I've had a lot of people asking me recently, what should we be doing now? Well, you're about to see. Let's get started. Hello, my name is Arthur, and I'm the CEO and founder of Tackleberry Solutions. We teach wartime tactics to citizens for self-defense purposes, and today we're going to focus on the engineering side of this, on trying to provide a more cozy lifestyle for us. So, let's get started. Today we're going to focus on a water system, and I'm going to take the camera, we're going to go over here, we're going to look at this water system that I've built, and I'm going to talk you through it, okay? Let's get started. Alright, so this is a water system. Let me back up a little bit here. That right there is a water system. Ignore the plants and crap on top that my kids and wife keep putting up there. And what this simply is a 275-gallon tank that I've found locally for 50 bucks down the road here. And this only had sugar water in it. And so I flushed it out a lot with copious amounts of water. And you see right there, it says sugar water. I've also found a couple of them that had like barbecue sauce and stuff. Pay attention to that right there. Well, what that means is when this thing is filled up, it weighs right at 3,000 pounds. And I've actually done the math, it's really 2,300 pounds. But hey, you know, that's close enough. So whenever you set this thing up, it needs to be on a structure that's well able to handle 3,000 pounds of weight. Because if you put it on rotted wood, guess what? This whole thing's going to go crashing right through it. Now, what also is familiar about it is what you're seeing on these hoses down here, and it's not actually hooked up at the moment, or you would see it connected right there where the valve is. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yep, that valve right there. That's a 2-inch valve, and I have the PVC that's just sitting right up here on the top. And I've screwed it in, and I just connect the garden hose to it, right? Well, that's the other end of the garden hose. It comes out here and comes down to this Y. I have this, I'm not sure if you can see that or not, right there, so that I can drain out the water during the winter. I can drain it off the pump and not freeze the pump at night. That's very important. That pump runs on a 12-volt battery. At the moment, it's running down to this 12-volt battery right here. It's inside that waterproof box, and that is being charged by this 15-watt trickle charge panel. That's a battery tender that I picked up online, but I'm getting ready to take that off of that and put it on the system. I'm going to show you on the inside here in probably another video, but I'm going to show you that system in there because it's going to be a better system. It's going to be a better battery, and they'll be able to handle the pump a little bit better. I've got the same thing on the other line. It's just even lower. And there's my Y down there, and here's the end. And what this does is it screws us right in here to this side right here. That way I can still use an outside source of water, but it'll screw right there. And then I go over here to the well house, and I turn the valve inside that well house that shuts the water off from the well to the house. So I won't be backfilling the well. Instead, I'll be pressurizing the house. The pump is actually sitting right down underneath here, so it's out of the weather. Right there it is. That is a pump that came out of an RV. I chose that pump because it has a pressure switch on it, so that means I don't have to constantly be running back and forth cutting the pump on and off. Plus the switch is up underneath there, and that is the reason why you see this piece of plywood right here. That is solely to keep the rain off of that pump, because that pump has to stay dry. So that is all. What this does is I have 275 gallons of water. With that pump, it back pressures the house and backfills the house, which means I can wash dishes, wash my hands, take a cold shower, flush a commode, which helps with hygiene, which just helps with sickness, and I can cook with it. So, pretty nifty, right? Well, you can set the same system up on an RV, which basically is already set up on an RV, just as a 100-gallon tank. You can set the same system up on almost any structure. And this is our house here, and that's what I have set up here as an emergency system for during hurricanes or whatever, right? Now, how do I fill it? At the moment, I have a shallow well that's way out there on the other side of that field, and I have two pumps that are both 12-volt pumps that are drawing the water up, and it runs up and fills this tank. Well, I don't have to do that very often because 275 gallons last a hot minute. But there's another way to do this. I could put a rain gutter, which is what I'm thinking about doing, on top of this and backfeed it directly into the tank, which means rainwater will fill it up. And I probably wouldn't put it on the side here actually because that's not going to do very good, but I'd put it right down the front, bring it to here, and run it straight like that. So that way the gravity of the rain on the roof will run down into the gutter and then down directly into the tank. So I'm using rainwater to backfill the tank with, and I'm using the solar panel to power and charge the battery, which is then pushing the water into the house. Free electricity works pretty good, right? All right, that is one water system. That is what I have set up here. Let me show you a few other things. Okay, so this is a actual transfer pump that I'm using. I've got two 5-amp batteries that I just tied together to make a 10 amp hour battery, and of course I had to have the switch in here because it is it's not waterproof, so I wanted to keep it from getting super wet, and I have it disconnected so that it's not an accidental activation of the pump. Now I've got my infill line, excuse me, that says flow out, and I got the flow in over here on this side of the box, and the box is waterproof, right? Because it's an old ammo can. I picked this pump up at Harbor Freight for about $62. It's an okay little pump, and the beautiful thing about it though is it draws water from 40 feet down. That's the little filter that came with it. I just kind of stuck it in here out of the way. And of course, I always put a fuse in line to protect that pump. Anytime you deal with anything, fuse it up. Go fuse happy, just go stupid with fuses, because a daggone $3 fuse system is a heck of a lot cheaper to replace than a $60-some pump. Alright, like I told you earlier, I have a shallow well that's a 35-foot shallow well, and it is way out there. You can see that concrete pad right there. There's a well on that concrete pad. It's actually just a little bit to the side there. You know, you can just barely see the edge of it there by that 10. Alright, so I can take that pump right there in that box and set it out there, and I've got a solar panel system that will sit right there beside it and charge it. So I can pump to other people, I can pump all day long, all day and all night, not a problem. Well, definitely not all day. But I'd probably put another one middle way here, because it's longer than 40 feet, and just to help keep with the flow. I have another pump just like it. I can put it right here and help push the water into that tank that I was showing you earlier, right? Well, if I can do that, if the well was closer to my house, I could just go straight from the well into the house. There would be no need for a tank, right? So, depending upon the system you have, it's a possibility. And right now, we're actually working on a whole nother system to take a pressure switch 12-volt pump and put it right in there, and just put the solar panel on that roof and run it, and we're going to bypass the 110 and go to a 12-volt pump, and we'll just put a battery in the pump inside the well house with a solar panel on the outside, and voila! We're trying to figure out how to create the draw from down, because that's a 60-foot well, so I'm kind of working on that right now, and it may be something that your guys can figure out, and heck yeah, we can just bypass this well, use a 12-volt pump system, and draw it right out. Alright, now what kind of batteries am I actually using? Well, I'll show you that in another video. I'm going to show you, in the second part, we're going to show you the actual solar system that we built for our communications, and I'm also going to show you a system I'm going to use in the house. Actually, I think that'll be the second video. So the solar system for the combo shack will probably be the third one. Okay, so we're going to show you the actual battery system in the next video from inside the house. We'll talk about the communication system a little bit later. I also wanted to mention that that pump that I was showing you earlier, the one I picked up from Harbor Freight, is a really nice system because I can draw from a creek, a pond, or whatever, right? It's already got a filter on it. You might want to run a purifier on it. Sure, why not, you know? But it's something you can draw from a local stagnant water source and or moving stream and still fill tanks and things with, which is why I have a couple of them laying around. Plus, having those tanks, I've got a couple, 2, 3 of those because why not? They were cheap. And I can put it in the back of my truck, take one of those pumps, take that very system right there, drive out there, boom, pull water right up out of the creek, out of a stream, a creek, or whatever, and bring it home, right? Really not that difficult. So even if you don't live in an area where it's super rainy, but you happen to live near a water body of water, you can use that kind of system to bring and transport water back and forth to your house. So you're just going to have to, it's going to totally depend upon the area you're in. Now, again, the next video, I'm going to take you in the house and to the kitchen. You're going to actually see the system we have in there for cooking as well as lighting. So till then, y'all have a great day.